And now on the World Service, exclusively by From Dial Square to Where, it's time for Mesut Island Disks.
Hello and welcome to Mesut Island Disks on From Dial Square to Where. It's back. It's been a bit of a hiatus for this show, but we're back with a bang today. We've got the regular guest, Melvin. How are you, Melvin?
Yeah, all right, thanks. After last night, just about. Yeah, fine, thanks.
We had to get that in there somewhere, didn't we? And there's a very special guest, Tom Watt. How are you, Tom? Thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm good, Andrew. Thank you. So, that's very good timing, actually. They just blew full time on the League Two playoff semi-final, Tranmere Morecambe. You can't beat a bit of football without being VAR, can you?
But absolutely. Oh, tell me about it. I absolutely loathe and despise VAR. What was the score, just out of interest?
2-1 Morecambe, who are and it was at Prenton Park. See, that's the thing. You see, League Two football. There's always a story. Every club is completely different. Do you know what I mean? It's not this sort of all homogenised kind of Premier League. So Tranmere, obviously, you know, have fallen famously on hard times. Really, you know, you think you can remember them in the Championship and the great Johnny King era and all that, and they sacked their manager immediately after they qualified for the playoffs. You know, you explain to me how that works, but so they've gone in. The caretaker manager, his first two games at the playoff semi-finals, and then, you know, and Tranmere, big club, they've got, you know, I don't know how many I think they had about 3,500 there tonight, but they'll push on for 10,000 people on a decent match day. And you've got Morecambe, who have the smallest budget in the division, and they're in the playoffs, and they've just won away in the first leg. So you see what happens. It's good though. Wow. It's good. They're proper stories. There was an old Arsenal boy actually who was in charge of Morecambe for years, Jim Bentley, a fellow with an Arsenal background. But it's now a guy called Derek Adams, who was at Plymouth, took Plymouth up to League One. And did a great job for them actually. So he's now at Morecambe.
Yeah, he's a good manager. I listened to.
Sorry, was Joe Royal anything to do with Tranmere? Wasn't he the manager there or something years ago? Joe Royal?
No, you're thinking not Joe Royal. John Aldridge was manager for quite a long while. Sorry, John came through at Tranmere, you know, and John was great actually. Did great at Tranny. I used to know quite a lot of people at the club. I did do a bit of work there from time to time, filming and what have you. And Aldo was always up there, you know, he's got a bar with his name on it at the ground and all that stuff. And he was manager for a while and played for him famously as well. So, no, he's proper Birkenhead legend, him, John Aldridge.
I went off him immediately when he refused to shake the hand of David O'Leary on the Anfield pitch in '89, when he just pushed his hand away. David O'Leary, being a gentleman, was just trying to shake his hand. Yeah, put me off John Aldridge.
Did it? Yeah. You show me a bad loser.
Not very sportsmanlike.
You should show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser, as they used to say.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah, very true. That's very true. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, so once again, thanks ever so much for coming on. It's going to be a good show tonight. Just to remind everyone about Mesut Island Discs, it's obviously my own take on the classic Desert Island Disc, but with an Arsenal twist, clearly. Everyone who comes on has got a choice to make of a variety of different sort of situations to take with them onto the desert island. Some good, maybe a couple bad as well. and it's all sort of loosely based on the old classic format. Going to go straight into it, if that's all right with you two gentlemen.
Yeah.
And going to the first one, really. So you're alone, stranded on a desert island, and you can have one Arsenal game that you would never tire of watching again and again. So I'm going to go to you first, Tom, if that's okay with you, and see what your choice would be and why.
Well, if you grow up and spend a lifetime watching Arsenal, you've probably got quite a few games you wouldn't mind. You wouldn't mind watching over and over again. There's the obvious ones like 26th of May 1989. There's funny enough, there's one where there was a half of football which I wouldn't mind watching over and over and over again, which was actually the first. People don't remember it because it ended in such absolutely massive disappointment. During 2003, 2004, when we obviously the invincible season, but we should actually have won the Champions League that year. I think at the quarterfinal stage, we were arguably the best team left in the competition. Got a draw at Chelsea in the first leg. Chelsea come over for the second leg, and the first half of that game was the best 45 minutes of football I've ever seen an Arsenal team play in well over 50 years of watching Arsenal. It was unbelievable. Obviously, because of the two goals after half time, and Jose Antonio Reyes scored towards the end of the first half. We should have been about 6 up. Do you know what I mean? It was the most unbelievable. It was just everything that was good about the Arsene Wenger era, really. Obviously, Chelsea came back and won 2-1. So nobody remembers that game. But that half I've always remembered probably. But the game I would want to watch over and over again would be the second leg of the 1971. The second leg of the 1970 Fairs Cup final at Highbury, which finished Arsenal 3, Anderlecht 0. First trophy Arsenal had won in 17 years. I'm 14 years of age, stood on the clock end. That's it. For me, that's it. That would be the one. I mean, I can still kind of play out the goals in the end and say, just fantastic. Eddie Kelly scored after about 20 minutes. And that was against a fantastic side as well. We'd already beaten Ajax in the semi-final, who went on to win the European Cup 3 years running. That's when what is now the Europa League, that's when that was a proper competition, by the way.
Yeah.
That was a proper tournament. We beat Ajax in the semi-final, also 3-0 actually, at Highbury. And, that Ajax team went on and won the European Cup the next 3 seasons. And then Anderlecht came along, who are basically the Belgian national side. And they beat us 3-1 in Brussels in the first leg. Ray Kennedy scored right at the end, but there was just this expectancy, muddy of a pitch, raining. It was just brilliant. Highbury was absolutely rammed, and Eddie Kelly scored after 20 minutes, and then it was just force of will. You know what I mean? It was just the most fantastic night. Everybody on the pitch at the end, Frank McClintock got carried around the pitch on people's shoulders, hanging on to the cup. It was just the best. That was just, I think, Highbury's greatest ever night, which would probably suggest that it's Arsenal's greatest ever night. Certainly, it was right up there. It was just fantastic.
I'll curse my parents that I wasn't born a few years earlier, because I would have loved to have been there. I've heard so many people say what an amazing night that was. I would do anything to go back in time to be there that night. But I wasn't born, unfortunately.
There's black and white highlights around, and because it's in black and white and grainy, and it does give you something of a feeling of the thing. It was, and it was on the back of a couple of really disappointing. We'd lost to Swindon in the League Cup final the year before, Leeds in the League Cup final the season before that. It's just never going to happen. And then that happened, and obviously it was a springboard for doing the double the next season. So it was without question Highbury's greatest ever night.
I think you're right. I went to that game as well, and I took with me, I was, I think, 15 at the time. And I wasn't sitting with my father and uncle who took me every week, but I had some baby sham in my pocket. I went and met him after the game with Baby Shang, Tom. So
that's living, isn't it? That's living.
I don't care. I didn't care then. I didn't care. And also, I don't know if you remember when we played Ajax at home in the semi-final. I think we played in our away strip that night. I don't know what the memory seems to. If I'm right, for some reason we played in an away strip. But that night, as you say, was a wonderful night. You know, for my father and uncle and a load of other people who'd never seen Arsenal win anything for so long. I mean, I've been supporting them for 10 years by then, or 9 or 10 years, and didn't expect anything ever. So it was a great bonus for me. And they'd seen Arsenal win things like years and years ago. So for them, it was a great relief to see Arsenal win something again. Yeah. And the place rocked. It really did. It really did. If you could have bottled that, it'd have been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Mark just beat me to it in the chat there, saying, "Hey, I'd like a Baby Shang."
I didn't think Mark was old enough to remember that.
I remember that advert very well. Right, Melvin, what's your answer to that question, that first question?
Well, I think it's not. I know this isn't a competition, but I think Tom's beaten me in the first one because that was such a great game to pick. But I'm going to fight on. Don't worry, Tom. I'm going to fight on. But one I'm very proud of to watch Arsenal play again and again was when we played away to Manchester United in 2002 to win the title when Wiltord scored. Not only because we didn't have a full-strength team, not only because we were a great football team, but United, because they knew they weren't as good as a football team at that time, tried to kick us off the park. We wasn't going to have any of it. We showed so much strength, courage, and just went for it. And like wherever they tried, we'll meet you in the middle and we'll go for it. And we did. I mean, Vieira had one of those games that was just unbelievable. We played without Bergkamp, remember?
No, no on me. Can't even feel to the attacking.
Edu played. He had a fabulous. I mean, they all played so well. Part of running socks off.
They part of man of the match and drunk.
Yeah, he ran his socks off. I mean, it's just like you watch it and you think you're every time someone's going for a tackle, you're wincing. You're thinking, oh my God, I hope he don't get injured. You know he don't get injured. You've just seen it 4 times or 5 times before. But you're just every tackle you're going into with the players, and they're coming out the other side. The Arsenal players, they weren't going to lose any tackles that night. Whatever United were doing, they weren't going to suddenly cry about anything. They just went for it. They weren't looking at the ref for any help. They just did their own thing, and it was fantastic. And to win it, it was just there as well. It was just a wonderful place to win it at, and it was just a joy to see, absolute joy to see. And Wiltord really, again, was one of those unsung heroes. He wasn't always in the team, but he always done a good job when he played for us. You know, when he used to do the years of change, Wiltord's playing instead of X, Y, Z. He was but he never let us down, and he used to get some very important goals as well.
And he never complained.
No, he never complained. No, he got on with it. So no, that was, to me, watching Arsenal that game was like, I was proud of them the way they did it. Proud to be an Arsenal supporter.
I remember. I was actually in a cottage in the middle of nowhere in Yorkshire in a place called Grisdale, and you had to come off this little country road, go up a little track, and it went on for another 2 miles into the middle of nowhere. And I watched it there, and I was absolutely papping myself because I didn't think I'd be able to get a good signal on with the satellite to actually watch the game. And it was, I mean, I had to fiddle around with it for a little while, but I managed to get a really good picture and actually sat there in the middle of nowhere watching that game, and it was just it was just so exciting. And I think it's probably one of those real first moments when we really did go toe to toe and really knock United off their perch. And that, we just, like you said, we got knocked down and just bounced straight back up again, and we weren't taking any crap that day, were we? And Wiltord had a great game. Well, everyone had a great game and worked their socks off. So yeah, it's a good choice as well, Melvin. What about you, Ryan? What game would you happily watch over and over again if you were stranded on a desert island?
It would have been that, but obviously I'm going to go for another one now. It had to be the Arsenal v Everton in '98 to win the title, because obviously that just because of the whole season, we started off so, but not by turn of the year we were seventh, 8th in the league, way off the mark basically. Then we're suddenly out of nowhere, the club they just went on a run. They just went on a massive win run that no one saw coming. Man United and Ferguson got started getting cocky. Bookies are paying out as well for me out to win the title. But we didn't bother us. We just kept going and going and going. And it came down to a point we had 4 games in hand. we won them games, and it was this game, 2 games before the end of the season, win it at home in front of the fans, first time since '91, and we just showed our the complete dominance we've shown that latter after the season. What's all accumulated in that game, and then what that moment we all know about is obviously a silhouette of my channels, my logo. Tony Adams getting put through by Bolt on his left foot on the volley.
I love that bit of commentary. My favourite bit of commentary ever.
Yeah. Would you believe it? That sums it all. And he's just turning, as he says, that sums it all up. He's turning, walking in towards the stand, and the sunshine just beams off his face. And with Tony Adams, obviously, with everything he'd been through for the last few years prior, building up to that, that's a sort of U-turn in his personal life as well.
It's very spiritual that time, I thought, didn't it, for him? Yeah. Very spiritual moment for him, that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I've got a signed photo behind it. It does have that sort of feel about it every time I look at it, every time I see it, because it's literally just, he's walking off, arms in the air, and it's the sun and
the statue. Got a statue of it as well. So a great moment. Really, really great moment. Yeah, it's fantastic. And we're going to move on to the second one, which is actually supposed to be the first one, but I got it slightly the wrong way around, but it doesn't really matter. We're all between friends here. And the second one is the goal. One goal that you could quite happily, again, watch over and over again. And it's back to you, Tom, for your choice of this one. The goal that means so much to you.
Yeah, well, the goal that I would happily watch over and over again is the best goal I've ever seen an Arsenal player score, which was Dennis Bergkamp's third goal in his hat-trick at Leicester in 1997, where somehow we ended up not winning the game, but, just the best hat-trick you'll ever see. And the third goal was just... But the goal I would kind of take away with me. Look, with football, it's the hope that kills you, right? But it's the hope is what... And so I would say Sol Campbell's goal. We're down to 10 men. Sol Campbell's goal in the Champions League final in Paris.
It gives me goosebumps. Look, my hair's standing on my arms.
Yeah, I would say, like Emmanuel Aboué, bless him, has died for a free kick out on the right wing. I was right in the bottom corner there, not the corner where he scored, obviously, all the Arsenal at the other end. But and Aboué's gone down easy, shall we say, for a foul, got a free kick, and then Sol doing what Sol does, getting on the end of it and heading it in, and you just thought, hang on, this is we're down to 10 men. And for so long in that game. And to be honest, if we hadn't been down to 10 men and Thierry hadn't kind of, run his mistake with substitutions, Fabregas should have been substituted, he couldn't stand up. Thierry missed 2 fantastic chances to make it 2-0. And eventually, we all know what happened. But like I say, it's the hope that kills you, but it's the hope you live for as well. So that goal probably is the one.
Yeah, I mean, I that's why, because a lot of people that have been on this show have said that that's the game that they would like to get rid of from history. But I totally agree with you, Tom, in the fact that it was still a very, very special game for me, and I would never want to lose that. That goal was just. I mean, I was so proud of the team that night, and we should have won it. We should have absolutely won it. Should have been out of sight, and with 10 men as well, and it was unbelievably disappointing. But for when that goal went in, Tom, I was ecstatic, and I wouldn't want to lose that feeling in a million years. So, totally get where you're coming from there, and I think it's a really good choice because at that moment I was on top of the world when that goal went in. Yes, we know what came afterwards, unfortunately. But it was a fantastic moment, one that I'll never forget, really, at that point. Melvin, what's your choice of goal?
Slightly off piste. I'm not going to go for the normal ones that perhaps people might have gone for before. I'm going to go for the Bergkamp's one. The second one he got when he against Southampton, when he scored his first ever goal for us in the league after about 7 games. It's a lovely goal. But then the second one he got up the other end. He ghosted past the player, took a lovely little touch, set himself up, and the goal would still be moved. The ball would still be moving if there wasn't a net there. And it just, we knew what a type of player he was. I mean, I'd seen him play for Holland against England at Wembley once, and he chipped, or he lobbed, Seaman. And Seaman was like, where did that go? You know, it was one bounce, where did that go? And you saw the class. And I'd seen bits of him on the telly, you know, you didn't see a lot of him, but you knew the guy was quality. I couldn't believe he was joining Arsenal when he did. And when he didn't score for a few games, all the critics were giving it the big and what a waste of money and all this. But you knew the guy was great. It's just a matter of time. And when he put that second one in, it wasn't a bit of, he's got his first goal. He's now showing what he can actually do. So please keep quiet and just give the guy the respect that he's going to deserve now, because he is different class, and he was different class going forward for a very long time. So that was just a beautiful moment. The way his movement, he just swept past the player and just lined himself up, and in one movement hit that ball, and the goalie had no chance. No goalie would have had any chance. You could have had 3 goalkeepers in that goal that day. Nothing would have happened. It would have still gone in. And it just gave the whole ground a lift. It was buzzing, and everyone realised what we got here. We have got a special talent, and it just went on from there. So for me, that goal for me was a special goal for me to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to quickly, before I come to you, Ryan, your choice, one of the best goals. Well, it was a Bergkamp goal, but it wasn't actually for Arsenal. It was the semi-final goal he scored in the World Cup.
Oh yeah.
I mean, again, that could have been for Arsenal. The way I felt, because I was just so proud of him.
He'd already. This is what I'm saying. He'd already scored that goal for Arsenal. It was a quarter-final against Argentina. And that was
quarter-final, not semi-final.
It was the reprieve of the goal, the third goal of his hat-trick at Leicester. It was the same goal, basically.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. I was so proud that he was an Arsenal player that scored that goal, and the way he
made it look so easy. He made it look so easy.
He played on the floor like Charlie George, you know, and special moment as well. Right, what's your choice of goal, Ryan?
Well, from an Arsenal perspective, against Bergkamp, but it's one against Newcastle. The ball from Perez, he has to sort of, a bad ball from his perspective, apparently. He had to flick it past Stabby's ass, go around him, and then get positioned quick enough to get in the position to pass it past Shay Given. And again, he made it look so easy, but there's no way anyone else could have done it at that time. Even now, I find it hard to find anyone in Premier League to do what he did in that moment. Assessing the pass. Even Perez said, I overshot the pass. So it
wouldn't have happened if it wasn't such a bad pass, would it?
Yeah,
that goal would never have happened like that.
And Dennis says this. He said, if it was a better pass to me, I'd do something else. But it was such a bad pass, I had to quickly figure out what to do. Quickly, like bang, and it just happened. And even they do it in slow mo. He makes it. It's just so effortless, and it's only he could do that in that moment. And with everything that was going on in that game, he had the coolness to go, right, yeah, it's a bad pass. You know, I'm going to make something out of it. He didn't complain. He didn't go throw his toys at his pram, bitch about the bear. He did what he did, and it was just a fantastic goal. And he just played. I remember at the time, after the match, and all, he just played it down like he didn't. Oh yeah, I meant to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And Shane in the chat has put the Henry goal against Leeds when he came back on loan. I mean, that was an amazing moment as well.
It was a moment.
A great choice.
It was a moment.
And also, well, it's just something it's a goal that's special to you, isn't it? And the feeling it gave you and so on. And Mark Green's put Limpar in the 4-0 win against Liverpool on the halfway line. Years before Beckham did it, basically.
Yeah.
And everyone, when Beckham did it, everyone would have thought that's the first time it had been done.
He's a man to me own art, Mark, because he's had an extra goal. It was 3-0, actually. We're being 3-0, not 4-0. That was the time when Liverpool turned up and playing grey kit with 10 centre halves on the pitch. Yeah. But it was 3-0, but it was a great goal. He scored a few, actually. He scored a great one last game of that season. Coventry, 6-1 as well.
I mean, obviously, I've already given my choices in previous shows, but I'll just say again, my favourite one of all time was the Rocastle goal he scored against Middlesbrough, where he just literally went off on the dribble, took it round about 4 or 5 players and just sort of stuck it in the top right-hand corner. My favourite player of all time. and that was my favourite goal of all time. I was in the ground, and I just again, I keep using this word, but I was just so proud of him because he was my favourite player, and the way that he did it, I just felt so proud of him, like he was like my brother or my son or something. I just the feeling I got just sent shivers down my spine. It was just unbelievable. And if that goal had been scored by a Brazilian in the World Cup, you'd still be watching it every time any international came on. It was just a fantastic goal. And one I'll never forget, really, personally. So we're going to go on to the next one, which is the negative one, really. And back to you, Tom. And it's the Arsenal game that you would quite like to wipe from history and chuck it in the sea when you're actually on the the desert island. What would be your choice there, and why?
Yeah, but there's been one or two of those as well. The Swindon League Cup final in '69 was bad. They were in the third division, and that was bad. But probably it would be the Europa League final against Chelsea in Azerbaijan. It was a very long way to go for that. And to be fair, I actually had a brilliant day. The whole kind of thing, the trip and everything. I went with some really good mates. I've got one or two friends who live in Azerbaijan, so one of them met us at the airport. We had a good. But there was this kind of bubble, which was that ridiculous stadium with no fans in it, and you're sat there a million miles away from the pitch, and the most abject performance probably you'll ever see from an Arsenal team. I mean, it was just that was a really, really kind of horrible night, just all round. Yeah. It was like it was one of those where why are we even playing them there in the first place? And I think that hadn't they already won the league or something? It was like it meant nothing to them, and it just apart from funny enough, Alex Iwobi scored a really good goal that night, but other than that, it was just relentlessly just a horrible experience, the whole thing. Yeah. So it was weird because you've got, but the thing is with that, and I actually said it to a couple of mates on the way back, was the one thing about that night is that it doesn't matter now, forevermore, people could come away from a game which Arsenal have lost, or it's not been a good game, and they go, that was terrible, that was rough. And you just go to them, don't even think about what a bad game is. If you were in Baku. And if you were in Baku, then you know how bad it can be, and that's how bad it can be.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the lowest I felt. I mean, I was podcasting that. That was probably the lowest point I've ever had as an Arsenal fan in my lifetime. That sort of period, actually. The games leading up to it as well, against Palace, against Watford, against Brighton.
Yeah, I know. We should have finished top four. Although in that Europa League run, and I think that was why you sort of half went there thinking, you never know, because we'd actually played some fantastic. That was Emery's competition, the Europa League, and it is again, obviously. Yeah. This season, he knew what to. Well, we played absolutely fantastic in both legs of the semi-final against Napoli.
Aubameyang was frightening, wasn't he? Well, in the quarterfinal as well, Aubameyang and Lacazette were fantastic, weren't they? That hat trick, Aubameyang scored,
just a mess,
superb. But it was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. It's a good choice actually for. A game to be in. What about you, Melvin?
On a personal note, not just the result and what it might have meant, it's one of those games where if we would have won instead of getting beat, things might have changed completely. I went up with my son in, what year was it? 2000? No, was 2000, was it? When we went up to Leeds near the end of the season, we had a chance of winning the league. Oh, yeah. Hold on a second, it was 1999. Yeah. And up the Welland Road, David O'Leary was the manager at the time, and people were saying, "Oh, you're going to do your old club a favour." He went, "No way, I'm the Leeds manager." Anyway, went up there. It was a tight game, but then we brought Diawara on, who was very good at hitting the post and bar. Absolutely fantastic at that. Not too good at actually getting in the goal, but he loved hitting the woodwork. And he came on and he missed a couple of sitters from about a couple of yards out. And it was just wasn't going to happen. And then near the end, Nelson Vivas, who came on a sub as well, he didn't see Hasselbank on his shoulder. And Hasselbank was at the far post to push it in. I think that might be one of the last games he played for us, actually, before we sold him on. And we went, and that was it. We never got back in the game, never looked like scoring. And that really cost us the league that game. And it was only a couple of games. And the long drive back with my son, who fell asleep in the back. You know, so I'm sitting there driving home by myself all that way from Leeds. And it feels like it was probably 4 hours. It felt like 24 hours, you know. And you know, you got to get up and
You
work.
say that was 1999, maybe?
Yeah.
Was that 1999? Yeah. Well, that is.
Yeah.
So you picked that over the semi-final replay.
Well, I didn't. I'll tell you why. Yes, I did, because I thought. I'll tell you why I picked that, Tom, because I thought someone else was going to mention that one, because that's like a more obvious one. That I felt
the
sick.
Semi-final replay. That was the one, because if we'd won the semi-final, if Bergkamp sticks away the penalty,
That's a
then
catalyst. I agree.
we go through to the final of the FA Cup.
Yes.
If we're in the final of the FA Cup, we would also have won the league, by the way. We would also have won. We would have done the double.
I agree. Yes. But I just thought someone else might actually pick it up. That's why I thought I'd be in a better room.
Someone chose that game.
I felt sick that night when we went up. I went to the first one. I didn't go to the replay. First one I think was at Villa Park. When it was the first one, first game.
Yeah.
In the semi-final.
Yeah.
I went to the first one. For some reason, I couldn't make the second one, and I felt watching it as he went up to take that penalty, Bergkamp. And when he missed it, I thought we were out. I'll be honest with you. It's like you think, you know, the momentum's gone here. We got one extra man than them. We've just missed a penalty in the last minute. You know, I felt sick. And when we got beat, it was like, it was a kick in the stomach times 10. I agree. But I just thought that perhaps someone else might pick it. That was the obvious choice. That's why I didn't pick Mickey Thomas's goal, if you like, as the most important goal to watch every week, you know, on the island. I just tried a little bit wider scope, that's all. But you're right, Tom.
Yeah, but someone else.
No, it was really disappointing. But that semi-final replay, if we'd done that, we would have won the league. We would have won the league.
Yeah.
We would have won the league.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely sure.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but someone else that was on the show doing this chose that semi-final replay as the game that they would want to be able to watch forever because of the quality of the football between the two sides and the rivalry between the two sides and the excitement that it showed. And it just sort of took them back to, you know, the fierce rivalry that we had with United at that particular point. And it was such an incredibly exciting game. But I could see their point of view in a way. But
can you?
I mean, you can't get away from I know. I'm trying to be kind to the bird.
Because other games Arsenal played United have been very exciting. You don't have to pick that one. There's been other ones.
Don't shoot the messenger, mate. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying. It weren't my choice. But there you go. Anyway, Ryan, what's your choice of a game to bin?
Just because, again, how young I was at the time, the 2001 FA Cup final. Even though we played some fantastic football, we were all over them. It's just the gut-wrenching 10 minutes that we had to ensue for that last 10. As I said, dominated, and we were
on show it diving save with the arm.
I mentioned that the other night. No matter what, it was the ball was not going in the net until Lundberg scored like 15 minutes before the end, and then you think, okay, we got the goal. We finally got the goal, fantastic. And then we make a few subs, it was a bit questionable, and then come his name there. McAllister comes on for Liverpool, set piece specialist himself. What do you go and do? Give him a free kick. And then literally that free kick, he whips it in from like 30, 40 yards away. Owen's there, taps it in 1-0, and you just know what's coming. You just know it. And then literally 6 minutes later, one ball over the top. Owen's there running at you. This is an Owen before his injury, and obviously career went to nosedive a couple of years later. Running at our very aging defence, apart from Ashley Cole, in terms of Lee Dixon, Keown and Adams. And you just know it's going. There's no way. Even I'm watching it back now in my head, and I'm literally as a 10, 11-year-old thinking, Okay, he's scoring. Yeah, okay. No matter what, even though Seaman's in goal, even though I love Seaman, one of my childhood heroes as an Arsenal fan, one of the reasons why I support Arsenal, I knew he was going to score. And when he does, it makes it hurt even more. It's just gut wrench. And then, as you said, we should have had at least 2-3 penalties in that game. That referee was on something else. I don't know what he was watching. I mean, literally, Henri Rounds Westerveld, one example, has the shot. Honcho Hopia gets back and literally gets down at a goalkeeper and puts the ball out for a corner.
Yeah, punches it round. Yeah,
we didn't even get the corner.
We should have been playing 10 men.
Yeah,
we should have been playing 10 men. Never mind penalty.
Yeah,
that's sending off.
Yeah, but
mind you, we've made up for it in the last couple of years. We get all the decisions now, though, boys. So it's made up for it.
Oh yeah, especially last night with Benteke. Fuck off. But hey, that just literally, as a kid, I was like, and again, after it was like 3 years after '98, we hadn't won a trophy, obviously, in that time frame. Got to Galatasaray, the UEFA Cup final, didn't go over the line on some penalties, but it was just that, what this could have been the move. It was. I think it might have been in another way.
Actually, that was another bad night.
Yeah,
that was another bad night, by the way. Galatasaray
and penalties as well.
We thought, it'd be 94 all over again, and it was absolutely. There was all the aggravation beforehand, wasn't there? And mate, mind you, they did have.
As a kid, I was just thinking at the time that FA Cup final, if we win that, it pushes us back on. We get back on the road to pushing for the title again. But I think maybe it worked another way. Maybe the loss and the way we lost pushed Wenger and the club to do what they did in the summer and push the players that remained on again for the ball-winning season, because it's sort of the gutting wrench of dominating game, not taking the chances, sort of must have knocked them all summer, knowing that we had this, we had it, we could have had this, but we didn't take our chances. And then next year, fast forward a year, in the FA Cup final, on the verge of a double against a London derby as well against Chelsea, and then we all know what happens there. Ray Parr and Freddie Lundberg again. We sort of right the wrongs from 12 months ago. But that's it. So that 2001 side, it hurts me even now thinking about it, because just with the fact we didn't deserve to lose. I think everything went against us in that game. As I said, the referee, everything, no matter what. And what made it even worse was Rocky's son was the mascot for that day as well.
Yeah. Another one for me was the Littlewoods Cup final against Luton as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean that. With the Steen's goal. I mean, that really pissed me off as well. I was so gutted. I was only a young lad, and I mean, was that? I can't remember. My brain's playing. Was that before the 87 against Liverpool? Was it after the 87?
The year after.
It was 88.
The year after.
Yeah, it was 88, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
we missed the penalty that game as well. Missed the penalty.
Yeah, I know.
And then we had Gus Caesar made a mistake in the last couple of minutes, didn't he, Gus?
I know.
Yeah, that was it. That was it for you.
Well, everybody blamed Gus. Everybody blamed Gus. Tony Adams didn't cover himself to the glory. I'll tell you what, though, with that game, that Luton game was different, because what you got to say is that for Luton, that's the greatest game in their history. And just that group of players that they had and that team that they had, that group of players are some of the most fantastic human beings ever to play football. I'm thinking about people like Danny Wilson and Mick Harford and Brian Steen and
Ricky Hill. Was Ricky Hill with them?
Yeah, Ricky Hill. They were just absolute top draw human beings. Well, they still are. Top draw human beings, and that was such a big, you think about that club's history. What have they done? I think they'd lost one FA Cup final previously, and it was such a big thing for them. You almost, you kind of couldn't begrudge them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, on the afternoon, it's terrible. But looking back, you go fair play. I mean, I remember. I don't know if they were taking the mickey or what, but they actually got me to MC. Because I knew all of it, I've got to know all of those Luton lads over the years, and they got me to MC like a dinner one night to celebrate Luton's League Cup win.
An anniversary.
1988.
Anniversary of
Do you know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and at one, you're going, you're taking mick here, and but actually, it was a brilliant night because they're brilliant people. They were really brilliant people, and it was, it was just a standout afternoon for that football club and for supporters. Like we're just lucky, aren't we? We're just lucky.
Yeah.
You think you spend a lifetime supporting Luton?
Yeah, I know.
Who could begrudge them winning that League Cup final?
Yeah.
So
they still had a plastic pitch at the time, didn't they? I think didn't they still have the plastic pitch back then as well? That was dreadful. That was. And was it Steve Foster there at the back as well? That always wore a sweatband around his head. Yeah. Remember him? He did my head in that day. He couldn't beat him. He was like headed everything away. That bloke. He had an amazing game. I remember. Anyway, right. So it's your. Hang on. No, it's back to you now. I think, Tom, with the next category, isn't it? And that is the song that you would choose to summarise your feelings about the whole of the Wenger era of Arsenal.
I would say, to be honest, because it was a song, and particularly you think of the early, the kind of first half of the Wenger era, it would be that Walking in a Bergkamp Wonderland, because I just think that Bergkamp was everything. Bergkamp was everything on the pitch that Wenger was off it. He changed Arsenal to a degree, to the same degree that Wenger did. Obviously, he had to cult the manager and he talked the manager and this and that. But Bergkamp changed that football club. And so for the two of them to coincide was just perfect. So that song, I just remember that song, 98. That was it. It was just it was perfect. To have Wenger off the pitch and Dennis Bergkamp on it, you've died and gone to football heaven, mate.
Yeah.
So I would take that song for that era, really.
I mean, God, I think your memories just make my hair stand up on end. It's amazing when you just talk about it because it's that special, though, isn't it? Honestly, I never dreamed that I would see football like I was watching back in those days in the early days of Wenger. I just couldn't believe my eyes, really, that the quality of the football that Arsenal were playing, and the orchestrator, the conductor, was undoubtedly Dennis Bergkamp on the pitch. He was literally like the conductor of a beautiful symphony orchestra, wasn't he?
When he was already there. He was already there. That's why I say he made it possible.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, great choice. And what about you, Melvin? What song would you choose?
Well, I'm going on the similar theme to Tom about thinking about the good times of Wenger, because I was trying to think of a song with snakes and ladders up and down. But I'm not going to do that. I think it was just the good times. The first 10 years was wonderful, and a song that was never been sung at a football ground, obviously, but one just the whole the meaning of the song and the actual title of the song, of what I was like watching this Arsenal team for 10 years. It was like Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. That says it all, really, didn't it? It was
an amazing time. It was you went in there, you didn't want the game to end. You just were just lapping it all up. It was great. You never looked at your watch or read the programme. You just were there. I don't know if I had my mouth open or not, probably did, and just watched this game and just loved every bit of it. It's just like fast, slow, quick, fast, slow. It was just from one end to the other. Teams were frightened to get a corner against us. We broke so quickly. And it was just a wonderful thing to see. There's so many defenders just putting their arms out going, what happened there? What on earth happened there? And they knew they couldn't do anything about it. Certain defenses could not do anything about it.
It was a goal-scoring opportunity for us, wasn't it? A corner for the opposition.
Yeah, that's what I said. They were trying to get a corner. Yeah.
7 seconds later, it was in the back of their net. It was just breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking. And it started, with Mark Overmars. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Nicholas Anelka. They're like gazelle running down. No one could catch him. No one. One well-timed pass, you knew it was a goal. You knew it was a goal.
They're so direct, weren't they? They weren't this passing backwards and sideways.
They were so direct. And ran with it. They just ran with the ball. And defenders, as you said, they were like, we don't like this, don't like
Absolutely
this. They kept the back off and left so much room. They just go, okay, we'll go this way and go bang.
And you wouldn't believe that Mark Overmars had I think it was 2 cruciate ligament injuries before.
Yeah, just worry about him when we bought him.
People wrote him off, and Wenger took a chance, and look what happened. Anyway, Ryan, what's your song for the Wenger era?
I'm sort of sticking to what the sort of theme of what Tom went down the route there is. Arsene Wenger was magic, and he wore a magic hat. For the first half of his time, it was like that because everything he sort of touched went to gold. Football was no one else played better football than us for a good 5-6 years. That's not just in England, in Europe, in the world possibly. We were just on another level. No, and that's the thing. This is just another. And the thing is, we talked about the corners before and all that. Teams were afraid to have a corner against us because Wenger built a team. He obviously inherited some of the George Graham players, but he was able to then use that as an advantage in terms of getting the Vieiras in, the Robertos, and bringing in Sol Campbell. You got big, strong, physical players in the early years, along with the little dainty ones to play the little technical stuff. But it was just you had the perfect balance. There's players that weren't afraid to get stuck in. I mean, we always hear the stories like Dennis Bergkamp. We always saw him in that time, like the technically gifted play that he was made things look so effortless and mesmerizing. But apparently he wasn't afraid to get stuck in and put a foot in and let he was there and he weren't going to get pushed aside. But it all comes down to Wenger because Wenger allowed his players to play with that freedom, and because he had that belief in them as well. It's sort of we saw became. What's the word to describe it? We sort of became so used to it that when it started disintegrating over the last half of his time, we became that bitter and spoilt child that doesn't like change, wants things to stay the same. What's going on? Why are you doing this to us?
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Just so you know, Tom, my choice for song was "I Touch Myself" by the Divinals.
Anyway, moving on.
It's not 9 o'clock yet, Andrew. Come on, it's not 9 o'clock.
No, I know.
Andrew, I just need to let you know I've got to be off at 9. I've got to be on another call at 9.
Absolutely fine. I'm going to whiz through these last couple of categories.
Well, you're fine. No, because there's no reason. You're in very good company here with Ryan and Melvin. So don't.
Absolutely.
When I disappear at 9, don't take it personally. It's just I'm still working.
Not at all.
So that's all I'm saying.
Give us a chance to say. Give us a chance to say goodbye to you. What would you choose as a song for the Emery era, Tom?
Well, it's not really one for the kids, but if you, but I don't know who might remember. There's a song that the great Jimmy Ruffin sang called "What Becomes of the Broken Hearted."
Yes,
and it just goes back to that. Yeah. It just goes back to that because I had high hopes of Emery. I think he was I really like that Sevilla team that won. What was it? They won 3 straight Europa Leagues, didn't they? I really like that team. A friend of mine was had done a lot of work with Emery and thought he was really, really good. Although this guy was Gibraltarian, so he spoke Spanish fluently, and do you know what I mean? So I had high hopes of Emery, and people forget he went 20 odd games undefeated and blah blah blah, all of that. So in a way, because you've sort of thought, yeah, this is the right bloke, and because you got to this, and we should have finished top 4 that season. His first season, we should have finished top 4. Absolutely no question. Stupid games that we lost.
At the end,
particularly the Crystal Palace game. That was just. So it was kind of heartbreaking, really, because you knew I mean, it dragged on, didn't it, into the following season? But you knew that night in Baku, you knew your heart's broken.
Yeah.
This fella's, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
So that song, What Becomes of the Broken Heart, probably because you got your heart's got to be kind of something's got to have taken your heart for it to break afterwards. So, and I had invested a bit in Emery. I really wanted it to work for him. And then my heart got broken in Baku.
Yeah. You two guys, okay? If I just finish off Tom's last couple of categories before.
Of course,
I'm just looking at my contract. Hold on. Looking at my contract. Yeah, it's fine.
Tom, what would be your choice of song then for how you think it's gone so far and potential for the future under Arteta?
I still have. I think he's learning on the job, and to be honest, I'm not really sure. You could always say Wenger's Arsenal, couldn't you? It's not like that now. This club belongs to Stan Kroenke, so that's the thing. This club belongs to Stan Kroenke, and so I'm not sure. I don't know what the future holds. I've got no idea. I'm not quite sure what to make of for me. I think what Ryan was saying about the bitterness, and I've got a bit of. I have trouble with a lot of Arsenal supporters, to be honest. A lot of the ugliness around the Wenger out thing, and there's this kind of sense of entitlement that has come with the unbelievable success that the club had in the late '90s and early 2000s, and I but I hope that now, and people don't recognise that Arteta came in and, that cup final against Chelsea, that was to beat Man City in the semi and then beat Chelsea in the final last season. That was an achievement, And people go, oh yeah, well it's only the FA Cup. So don't tell me it's only the FA Cup. Don't tell me that. Because do you know what I mean? But where Arteta goes, I'm not sure. What tools is he going to? I don't know. But one thing I do know is that the whole kind of experience now over the Arteta era, and it's not to do with him, to be honest. The Arteta era so far and what is to come is not going to be about Arteta. It's going to be about. And I think that maybe people have kind of woken up to what modern football actually is. Maybe people have woken up to it. We had a laugh before. I'm watching League Two football, League Two playoff semi-final, because I can watch football without VAR. And, people are maybe waking up a bit to what modern football has become. And hopefully, as The Who said in one of their greatest ever songs, we won't get fooled again. Because let me tell you, we have been properly fooled. We have been properly fooled. And not just by the Kroenkes, by the way. We've been fooled, for me, by modern football. By what football has become.
Too sterilised, isn't it? Sterilised.
Well, don't even get me started, because I've got to go at 9 and I can be here until 10. You know what I mean? So don't get me started. And I'm not saying we can ever go back, but what I am saying is I hope that now, when people have seen, I think it's brilliant. Like now, you watch the game last night. You watch any game. You go, where are all the people who thought VAR was a good idea? Because everybody now goes, it's terrible, it's terrible. I said, this is the worst invention in the history of professional football.
It is, yeah.
It's the worst thing. It's the worst thing to happen to football since the game was invented. The single worst. Because we live for the moments where everything goes out the window, where you go completely mental, where everything just... And those moments no longer exist. They have been taken away from football. And that's what I mean about getting fooled. Because what we've been fooled by is mugs like us who've still got season tickets and go to games and all that. We think we're still watching a game that's played for the people who pay to watch it.
No.
Guess again. No. We're watching a game that's played for television audiences.
Yeah.
And VAR works fine for them because they don't really care. Do you know what I mean? It's another talking point, isn't it?
Yeah.
But for the people who go, it has destroyed. VAR has destroyed the experience.
Yeah,
For the people who
I
play,
agree.
and more crucially, for the people who pay to watch them play. It's killed it. I don't know why I got on the VAR, but that's just one example. That's one example.
Yeah.
And I just hope people are waking up and we won't get fooled again. So that would be my song for these.
Very,
these
very
current
good.
times.
Very good choice. Love it. And just finally, then, before you go, can you think of a film that would summarise what Arsenal means to you and your life supporting Arsenal?
Yeah. It's the blatantly obvious one, which is Fever Pitch.
Yeah, which you did on.
Because,
I believe you did it on stage, didn't you?
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I was going to say. And the thing was, I mean, obviously, fantastic book that made people look and think and feel completely differently about football supporters in general, not just Arsenal supporters. And Nick Hornby, that is a master. You know, if that's the only thing he'd ever written in his life, it's an amazing book. And yes, I did do a one-man show, like a national tour and a run in London of a stage play based on Fever Pitch. But it was, I say a play, it was a one-man. It was like a one-man play. You play all the characters, his mum, his dad, him at different ages, his girlfriend, all these. And the thing was, why I say it absolutely does sum up my life is because me and Nick are roughly contemporary in terms of age.
Yeah.
And I did that play. And the great thing was, and of course it goes for the book as well, and why it speaks to me so strongly, is because every single game that was mentioned in the play, every single Arsenal game that's mentioned in the book, I was there. I was at the game.
Yeah.
The only one where we're different is obviously the game that makes the film, which is 26th of May 1989, which obviously Nick watched on telly, but I was at the game. So that's the only one that's different. Do you know what I mean? So that one, both because of what it is, because of the subject matter, and also because it was one of, if not the best acting jobs I ever had in my life. So I would take that all day long. I wasn't absolutely sold on the film, but Fever Pitch, the phenomenon was absolutely, absolutely nailed it. It's great.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I just can't thank you enough. I think it's been brilliant that you've been on. I've really, really enjoyed it. And what have you got? Anything that you'd like to sort of plug at the moment? Anything coming up or?
No. Yeah, but no. It's fine. It'll get out there. Do you know what I mean?
Fantastic.
Get out there.
No problem.
But look, it's great to see you again, Melvin. Good to meet you, Andrew. Good to meet you, Brian.
Love it.
Up the Arsenal.
See you again, Tom. Brilliant.
See you again,
Thanks
I'm sure.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
Yeah,
Take care, Tom.
Bye.
Take care, mate. Take care.
Bye.
Top man. Well, that was Tom Watt, and that was brilliant. I absolutely love his passion, the way he talks about football. And I couldn't agree more with everything he said, to be honest.
I think you do need to get him on for a separate podcast at some point during in the summer or something, just to talk about VAR. Because I think that'd be the whole. Because there's so much to get involved into it in one show, maybe two shows, where everyone, not just him, but everyone could sort of go even more into what we feel about it.
I could not agree with him one bit more. I just totally and utterly agree that it's the worst thing to happen to football.
You know what?
Ever.
It's not just VAR. There's other things as well you could speak about. Not just VAR.
Oh, yeah.
But VAR things are not quite right with football.
Yeah.
But I tell you something.
That's the whole show. What you could come back.
Out of all the people that are well known, if you like, people that are Arsenal supporters and call themselves Arsenal supporters, I've heard them speak and I've spoken to some. Blah blah blah. He's the most knowledgeable guy I've ever met.
Yeah, honestly, I'll tell you what.
I mean, I thought that I'd be able to pick him up on something. I thought, no, he's right. Everything he says, he's right. The dates, the times, the scorers. I think he would be on one of those quizzes, that you do.
Yeah.
He would be unbelievable on the Arsenal.
I'll get him on one of those quizzes.
I've never seen a guy. It just comes naturally with him. He doesn't think about it, which is fantastic. Because it's like us. It's in his DNA, isn't it, Arsenal? You can tell it's in his DNA.
Mastermind on BBC One, special subject, Arsenal's history.
But even lower league football. He was talking about lower league football at first off, wasn't he? And he knew everything about that and all, like straight away. Who used to play for who and Tranmere and what a guy. I absolutely loved every minute of him being on the show tonight. I was so pleased. And just the way he talks about football is just inspiring, really, isn't it? It's really, really makes you realise why you love the game. You know, when you get someone so passionate, knowledgeable, it's brilliant.
Lovely to see. Lovely to be in his company. Thing is, I just got to say one thing. Mark Green, I always imagine in my mind is a young guy.
Oh yeah, no,
but he's not. He's an old sod like me. I didn't realise. Honestly, for some reason, in my, you get in your mind, you visualise
sort of an image or something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Must have a chat one day, Mark. We must have a chat.
Mark, your name is too young. You need to get an older man's name.
We must have a chat.
Like
though, obviously, a few stories on Arsenal as well from Mark, I reckon. Bloody hell.
Right, you're going to have to remind me what was the last category you did, Melvin?
I think we've got to do the managers, haven't we? Have we got to do the managers?
Okay.
We've done Wenger. We've done Wenger.
We've got to do
Emery, Arteta.
So it's your go then, Melvin. A song to summarise the Emery era for you.
We had a couple. Can I give you a couple? Can I be rude?
Yeah, of course.
Knock yourself out. Right. Watershed now.
All right, we're on the road to nowhere. That was one of them. And the other one, because I couldn't make up my mind. And this is the way it was going. It started all right with Emery, then it went not so good. And I thought, down, down, deeper and down. Well, that's why I couldn't make up my mind. So thank you very much for letting me have two.
No, that's very good. Really, really good. I think my one was Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now by the Smiths. What's yours, Ryan?
The Pretender by the Foo Fighters.
Oh,
because he's just because he's that manager after Arsene Wenger. As you said, we all hoped it would work. We didn't want to become we wanted to do the opposite to Man United when Ferguson retired. We wanted to get things right straight from the off, and it just screamed, especially as Tom touched on earlier, the latter stage of that first full season when we had it. We were third in the league, had it in our hands with like 4 or 5 games to go, and he just threw it away. Crystal Palace. I mean, Everton away. Crystal Palace at home, Everton away, Brighton at home. I'm not quite. Oh, Mark. We have to get you on sometime.
I've asked him. I've asked him to come on. And Queen, who wants to live forever. It's a good choice as well. I'm going to whiz through the last couple, if you don't mind, because I want to rush off, but because I want to talk about something that sort of came out in the news today as well.
All right.
But just quickly, your song then, Melvin, to summarise what it's gone on so far under Arteta, but what potentially you think could
be his song at the
moment.
Well, this is his song for the moment rather than the future. This is his song, right? It's from The Clash. Should I stay or should I go?
You bye.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a fantastic choice.
And tonight's one.
I mean, you haven't got to say much else, have you?
No, that's it. End of.
Says it all. Great song as well. Love it.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
Ryan, how about you?
Numb because literally this season's been so mind numb and
sir, he hadn't done his homework, painful. sir.
Numb, yeah. That's a good one.
Numb from what was it?
U2.
What U2? What was it?
U2 did a song called Numb as well.
They did a song called Numb, but it's the one from the what was it? The guy that died a few years ago as well. He died a few years ago in America. I can't remember his name now.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Linkin Park.
Linkin Park, Linkin Park. That was it.
Yeah, I can't think of the guy's name now.
Yeah,
it's just out of my head.
That's a bit. I listen to it all the time. I listen to it most of the time because it's part of my playlist on Spotify. But yeah, the reason I say numb, it's because mainly on this season, it started off well, don't get me wrong, but this season itself has become so mind-numbingly
it has. Yeah.
Numb to the defeats. The defeats now, they hurt me at first, but I'm just, it's like, yeah, cool, we've lost. Not like, but we've lost. It's just like, there's no pain to it anymore. It's just like you become used to it, become accustomed to us all of a sudden. And that's not a good thing either. But I think Melvin wins it tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Your story of your life, then, Melvin, as an Arsenal fan, what would be the film?
With the title of the film, not necessarily what the film was about.
Yeah, of course.
It would be Hope and Glory.
Yeah, good one.
It's a war film.
Like it
in England.
Yeah.
In the countryside.
Yeah. No, it's a great one. Good choice, Ryan. What about you? I think my one was Never Ending Story.
Yeah, I forget that.
Yeah.
Oh dear, my one, bloody hell. I was going to go along the same lines of Tom in Fever Pitch, because it's the book and all that, and it's Arsenal. Again, part of Arsenal, but again, not part of, but it's like Arsenal related in the sense of that's what the main things are all about.
Yeah, I'd love to meet him, Nick Hornby, because he's all about music as well, isn't he? Obviously, with High Fidelity, the book he did after that, working in a record shop. And
was that an American film? I think I saw that with.
Yeah, I think it was an American film. They ruined it. Basically, the book's brilliant. The book
is that with Jack Black in it?
Probably.
No, don't think so.
I thought Jack Black had a very small part in it. I thought it was one of his first.
Oh, he might have done.
Might have been at the start. Yeah.
I'll say who's in it. The actor in it was the same actor, American actor, funny-looking bloke, who was also in. It's a one word that if something happens, goes. What's the name of it? Something happens, not sliding doors, but similar to sliding doors. If X would have happened, then your life would have changed.
Sort of like
one word.
Oh.
And at the end of the film, they're skating on ice. The couple. Anyway,
it's not Kevin Kline. It's not Kevin Kline, was it?
No. He's got a very. Can't think of the name of it. Not Exponential, something like Exponential or something like that. Anyway, it comes to me in about 4 years.
It was. Yeah, I think because I'm massive into my music as well. I love music, and obviously just as much as Arsenal, pretty much. So I'd love to have a good chat with Nick Hornby. I think it'd be absolutely amazing.
What's the name of that film? Sorry,
High Fidelity.
Definitely saw it. Saw it. Saw it.
I read the book. I don't know if I ever saw the film, but it's about time I watched. Fever Pitch again, or read Fever Pitch again as well. I've listened to it a couple of times recently on audio book, but you can't get enough of it, really, can you? It's just brilliant.
I got the name of the guy, John Cusack. That's it.
Oh, John Cusack. Yes, of course. He
was in. Who else was he in? He was in this other film I'm thinking. Anyway, it's John Cusack. That's the guy I'm thinking of.
I know you. Yeah,
Mark also says it. Jack Black was in it. Was in that film.
He was in it, was he?
Yeah, that's what Mark's saying. Yeah.
He must have been very young because it's quite early 90s.
I think his name was Jack Gray then. That's how young he was.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's it. That sort of finishes it up. With Mesut Island Disks. So that was really enjoyable. I'm really, really glad we did that tonight. But yeah, what I wanted to talk to you about, and I sent it to the group chat earlier in WhatsApp, was the Dennis Bergkamp interview that's been reported on today about the prospective takeover. Did you read that article that I forwardarded?
I saw the headline.
I'd already seen it on Twitter. I've read it, seen it and saw it earlier on, like an hour or two beforehand. But yeah.
Well, it was incredibly interesting coming from Dennis Bergkamp.
He plays his card so close to his chest. It's a bit strange.
It does. It does, and that's what makes me
strange.
So interested.
Yeah, I mean, I have James Rowe, who you've all met on my channel,
terrific. Yeah, terrific.
He says Dennis is so. Ever since he was a child, he's literally been so. He keeps everything to himself. He doesn't.
He's introverted.
He does not come out outspoken about anything whatsoever. He has his own life and assets, that sort of thing.
When Dennis speaks, you listen, because he's like, he is a closed book. He does very, very few interviews, doesn't he? And that is why I find it so interesting.
It's out of character, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it gives me renewed hope, really, that something might happen, because I would never have been so positive before reading that.
Yeah, and it sort of shows that Daniel Ek isn't doing this for publicity. He's actually been, because he's now done about the top two. It's 2 bids now, both been rejected.
Yeah.
Another bid's gone in since, so he's been aggressive. He's been aggressive about it. At least he's been more aggressive than Usmanov did.
Definitely.
And that's saying
when he came out with that tweet, after
during the protest,
pretty much being forced to come out with that tweet saying, they said they don't need the money. I think I could speak for most people when you think, well, that's it then. Because if I remain interested, if he changes his mind, he knows where I am, basically. Words to that effect, didn't he? But when Dennis speaks like that, I don't think he would say anything remotely that open
he's got
if there wasn't a big amount of substance to it.
Yeah, he's got no reason to, has he? That's the thing. He has nothing to gain from it, for making it up. And he's saying that, and he's saying the second bid has happened since this statement over the weekend came out. So
just for those people that may be listening or watching now that haven't actually seen or read what we're talking about here, Dennis was being interviewed, and he basically said that. Just scrolling up, revealing his Zoom conversations, which made a positive impression, and insisted that for Arsenal to compete again at the highest level, it needs to be run first and foremost as a football club, not as a business, which is something I love to hear as well. Last week, Eck revealed he'd been rebuffed by Stan and Josh Kronk. But further efforts have since been made. I understand that in addition to that offer, Daniel has now reached out twice to Josh Kronk and his bankers. I think he misspelt that. Should have been a W instead of B. Josh Kronk and his wankers, said Bergkamp, who is part of the consortium, along with Thierry and Patrick. Whatever Kronk's intentions are, it would be good if we at least had a conversation with each other in the interest of the club. Regardless, Daniel is not a quitter, and neither are we football boys. We are here to stay. We do know how the fans feel. We have already had a meeting with the supporter delegation. We also sense more and more enthusiasm on their side. That is very stimulating. On what kind of change they might bring to the Arsenal if a takeover was successful, he continued, I'm not looking for a revolution. We really hope that we can talk to the current owners in a good way. We don't want to harm anyone. It's not about us personally. This revolves around our views on an improved Arsenal. As players, we contributed to the transition from being boring Arsenal to a squad called the Invincibles. Thanks to that period, I have now been inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame, which I'm extremely proud of. That's what the interview is about, which I couldn't remember. Obviously being interviewed about being entered into the Hall of Fame. The quality, mindset and passion of that time must once again become the norm. Thierry, Patrick and I have ideas about that, which fits perfectly with Daniel Eck's plans. There was implied criticism of the current ownership, as Bergkamp sees a change at the top as fundamental to any kind of restoration of Arsenal's stature. An acquisition is crucial, he said, so that Arsenal can continue with an owner who understands that a football club should not be run like a company. No matter how much money is involved with English football, Arsenal is and will remain a football club, which is how it must be managed at all levels of the club. As for what kind of roles he, Vieira and Henry might have, there was some reluctance to go into specifics. We have plenty of ideas about the technical details, but it makes little sense to talk about them now. First, Daniel has to come to a takeover. After that, it would make sense to use the knowledge we have gained during and after our careers. We are ready, and so is Daniel. And that was on Arse blog today. So thanks to him for that. So I just think that that's a really, really bold statement from Bergkamp. There must be some big substance to it. There must be. And it just gives me a lot more hope, basically. I can't see how you wouldn't be quite excited about that, really.
Yeah, well, is that Melvin's about to say? I know he's going to say it. It's the man that's got to. He's got the man that owns it. It's got to be wanting to sell. And we've got to somehow convince him to sell.
But do you think he would have been as speaking quite as openly and as positively if he didn't think that there would be a chance, though?
Well, I think it's public knowledge. Sorry, that there's a protest being planned, isn't there, this Sunday, 2 hours before kickoff. So they want to get the fans on board and sort of look, guys, we're doing our best, but we need a bit of help from you. You need to help us put pressure on as well. If you really want this now, you need to do your bit. And this is for a fan's perspective. This is the last chance alone for this season that we have a chance to putting some pressure on Stan and showing them that no matter what they do, what war chest that apparently exists and this, that, and the other, no matter what debts they wipe out of nowhere, because they apparently can do that now, put their own money and wipe debts out apparently. No matter what you do now, enough. You broke and burnt too many bridges with this fan base that we will never trust you. We will never forgive you. The most important thing is you use the club's everything the club stands for, the badge, the name of the name what it stands for, and everything it stands for, the whole history of this club. You threw it under the bus a month ago for a bit more money, and you'll never be forgiven.
And I'm not a stupid man. I know that they've got to get him to sell. But what I am encouraged by is that he is a very, very quiet man and very, closed book, like we said. He doesn't come out and say things often. So by saying that, it just gives me a lot more hope than I did have anyway, that something is in this and it could really happen at some point, sooner rather than later as well. And we fans really need to just not let this die a death, these protests. We've just got to keep our voices being heard, haven't we?
I don't know. I just listen. I want to be wrong. I want to be completely wrong, because I don't think the fans will make the slightest difference. I think they might antagonise the owner. It won't make him sell. Believe it. We're not big enough or strong enough to make any impact on that guy. Not 4,000 of us or 6,000 of us or whatever it is. I hope I'm wrong. The only, as you say, Andrew, Dennis Bergkamp never says anything ever.
No.
So perhaps he knows just a little bit more than we know. Hopefully he does. Perhaps he's got a little bit of well, no, that's not the right price. Come and see us at a higher price, and then we might talk about the right price. I mean, perhaps he's had some encouragement that we don't know about. But But I'm only hoping that is the case. Because otherwise, we'll just be treading water, and we'd be getting like we normally do with the Arsenal, get our hopes up. He holds, like I said the other day, he holds all the cards, Kroenke. He holds all the cards. He holds the table and the chairs around it as well. So it's got to be a reason for him to do it. Hopefully he wants to do it. Hopefully he realises there's other people that can put this club in a much better position than he can. Even if he comes up with the money, right? He comes up with with all the money. He hasn't got the people there to spend the money correctly. We want people in to spend the money correctly anyway.
Get the right staff in place and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You might get, if you get these three guys in, these fantastic footballers in, who obviously will be great for the club. The heart's in the right place as well. They might be doing a deal to get, let's talk of fantasy land here. Get Overmars in with all his knowledge. Right, let's be silly and go for it, shall we? Because that could and might happen. I don't think it will, and I hope I'm wrong. And I'll be the happiest man in the world if I'm wrong.
We'll bring Freddie back and get back in coach of the youth.
I think he's very unlucky. I think he was treated badly, Freddie.
Oh no, but I'm saying with new
but
what I'm saying is
shocking what they've done with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. If this lot were to piss off basically, and obviously Daniel Eck and Bergkamp, Henri Vieira come in, and a whole new structure's put in place, the right people brought in. Longwood may be persuaded, just like give us a year at least to show you that this will be different this time. We will actually show you the respect you deserve. You'll get the chances you want.
Of course. And
even Tony Adams as well. Bring Tony Adams back into as a club ambassador or something.
Yeah, all we want, Ryan, is football decisions made by football people. That's all we're asking.
Not much.
That's all we're asking.
Exactly.
I mean, Freddie Ljungberg could be a great assistant manager, a proper assistant manager, because he's actually had a small taste of management as well.
Yeah.
And knows the pressure involved, and he knows that you have to challenge the manager on occasions with his decisions.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a very good point, because I don't believe any of Arteta's people challenge him. Not what I've seen.
No chance.
And that's a big problem I brought up the other week. I don't think that happens, and that's no good.
Chance.
And you take round all your mates round to all the different clubs you go to. That's not. I don't think that's a healthy situation.
No,
right? I don't
never.
think can never be a healthy situation. I think, as I say, I'm going back on it again. I think Freddie was treated so badly. But
he was.
Yeah, he was.
They asked him to do him. He'd done them a favour. Yes, he wanted to do it, but he'd done them a favour. Then they got someone else before the paint had dried, and they got rid of him. Sorry, he was a true legend in the Invincibles. Right, he gave 100% on the field. He's an intelligent guy. You listen to him speak. He's a
lovely bloke and all.
Yeah,
you know, he's got a little bit of. I think he's got a little bit of nastiness in him as well, which I don't like.
Exactly.
You know, I'll have him before Arteta, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Melvin. Well, I was saying, since obviously Arteta's coming in, I've been saying from day dot that literally the way that Josh Kroenke and the rest of that lot treated Freddie in that period when they needed him. Let's be honest, they needed him more than he needed them, and they treated him like dirt.
He had a decent job, didn't he?
From the first second, it was because the media and what were asking if he does, because obviously they got us also fresh and he'd done what he'd done a year before after taking over from Mourinho. And the questions were coming to the Kroenkes, if he does what Ollie does and gets things going and
how can he? You know, the squad that Ollie had.
Oh, no, but I'm just saying, these are the questions that the media are asking. If he was to turn things around and get you into top four or get you in a decent position in the league, for example, would he have a chance of having a job full time? And they said the response was every time, basically no. And
he had to like the kit man that does his help.
Yeah, and had to Mertesacker and Per Mertesacker as well. They didn't even give him a coaching setup. They never gave him a coaching setup of his own wanting, basically.
A doctor was out there doing the warm-ups.
Yeah.
The club doctor.
Yeah, the club doctor. He says it all. And to rub salt in the wound, you basically told him that he's not got a chance at all, no matter what he does. So then the players are like, why should we bring him bother, basically? So that's why we never saw an upturn in results there. And then to hire someone who's less experienced than him, let's be honest. Freddie's got some experience behind him. Someone less experienced. And you're then asked to be his not right-hand man, but one of his assistants. Of course you're going to be pissed off. He's sort of 6 months out and walked flat this. I'm not having it. Bye-bye.
I still, what you said, Melvin, I would have been happy to have kept him for a season and see how it got on.
Yeah.
Because what he's got, at that point, he had more experience than Arteta did. It's only because Arteta was sitting next to Pep.
Through.
Exactly. And he'd managed a team and put the team out every week. Arteta had never done that. I know it was only the under 23s.
And also,
but at least he'd done it.
Exactly. And also, he hadn't played with any of these players like Arteta did. And that's sometimes not a great thing. Right?
Everything he said
he ticked a lot of boxes.
Was true.
Ready? Ticked a lot of boxes.
Yeah. Oh, loads of boxes. And again, and also working with the under 23s, lots of Saka, Smith Rowe, and Bannigan's coming through. They all loved him. Because he showed them they respected him from what he was as a player. But he took the time out of his own time away from the training pitch to advise them where they're going wrong and help them out and actually improve them as a player.
They loved him. You could tell it was genuine when they walked off the pitch. They hugged him, and everything that he said when he left, all the problems and everything, everything was spot on. Absolutely true.
He even got a song out of Pepe, didn't he? Do you remember?
Yeah,
against
West
a
Ham.
great game against West Ham.
That's it, yeah.
But
Anyway,
yeah, I'd love to have him back in the club. It was really sad when he
yeah.
left. It was really sad, and I can't believe he's not got another job
So,
yet.
yeah.
But
I think he was hoping to hang around. Hopefully, this sort of the ownership wise would piss off. I just thought it would be gone, and he'd come back and start again, sort of thing. Maybe because again, it would have been so. Again, like you said, Freddie, he is more toned to our fan base because we love him because he did as a player. But as you said, he doesn't play. He never played with any of these kind of players. So, I mean, it was easy for him just to go, "You're not playing. Piss off. You're not going to."
That's right. That's why. He had nothing. There was nothing there. He owed them nothing. He didn't owe any of those players anything.
He couldn't. Yeah, exactly. He couldn't be accused of bias. Nothing.
No.
He would be brilliant to bring through those under 23s and the Hale graduates.
And you could tell there was a style there. He was trying. There was even a style there. And what I wanted was the Cronkies and the club to actually give him that chance, give him the stuff that some backroom staff that he wanted and needed. And you never know. Things would have maybe got better. Maybe for that season, we could have finished a bit higher. Maybe.
I think we could.
You don't know. We don't know now because they took away that chance straight from the off by treating him like a piece of dirt on a piece of back of their shoe.
I don't think he would have been any worse at all than the way we have been. I think he could have been better, if anything. But
there's always. I think from the Norwich game, the first game he took over as interim, you could see there was a way Freddie wanted to play as well.
Oh, absolutely.
It's more exciting. And a few games that he was in charge, the football was more exciting than what we've ever seen under Arteta, with all due respect.
Yeah, definitely. And Mark said in the chat their thoughts on the 120 million Bank of England loan being paid by another loan. That's not been the case. I mean, I'm not going to go into it for a start, but I've read everything I've read. There is no concrete evidence that they're taking out any other finance to pay it off with at the moment. But that's the reason. If it turns out that they have, then it's another story, and we can pick it up on another show. But
there's a whole other
at the moment, we don't know whether they've paid it off
or
whether they've refinanced it somewhere else. I don't know. So I'm not going to go down that route at the moment.
We'll soon know. Beginning of next season, if the East Stand ain't there next season, we know something's not right.
Yeah. All the lead off the roof.
Yeah, the clock's gone. Yeah,
the clock's. All the lead's been stripped.
Yeah.
Off the roof. So. The
Arsenal badges have actually disappeared off the stadium as well. The legends around the stadium have all disappeared. That things they have all disappeared. Because that's bare minimum. We know something's not right.
Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Let's just keep our fingers crossed for this takeover bid because I'm a lot more encouraged now after that statement today by Bergkamp. Let's hope we're walking in another Bergkamp wonderland fairly soon. But guys, I've really enjoyed tonight. I don't know about you, but I think it's been brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on, both of you. Oh, well, of course, Melvin, we need to sing a song.
What's that?
To the gentleman down below us on the screen. It's his birthday. It's his birthday.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to sing crying.
1, 2, 3.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ryan. Happy birthday to you. Hope you had a good day, mate.
Yeah, not too bad considering. Obviously, first one in 2 years outside of lockdown. Yay!
Fantastic.
Yes. But I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope you had a good day anyway, and thanks for coming on, both of you. What have you got coming up on your channel, Ryan?
Trying to think. Saturday, I'm hoping to do a podcast on Saturday, sort of get ready for the Brighton game on Sunday. Do the Brighton, and then obviously watch along on Sunday for kick-off. So go live about 3:30ish, maybe a bit earlier, depending on what's going on at the Emirates within what the planned protest and all that. And then from them, I'm thinking of doing something else as well. I'll talk to you guys off air about it. Just an idea I've had. end of season thing for. And then the Euros, basically. Look forward to get ready for the Euros.
Yep. I mean, I'll end up watching it. I know I will, but I mean, I've not really been interested in England since probably going back to the days of Glenn Hoddle, Terry Venables, and then Glenn Hoddle, and then I don't know.
Oh yeah,
But there's hardly been ever
England.
been any Arsenal players playing for England, has there? I mean, it's just anyway.
No.
But yeah, that sounds good. We'll have a chat then off air, and thank you, Melvin, for coming on.
Thanks for asking me. It's brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Really good. I like the format here. It's very good.
Yeah, we've got. I'm going to be getting a lot more people coming on to do it as well, especially during the summer, whilst there's no Arsenal to talk about on the pitch. But thank you to Shane, Gary, Mark, everyone that's been in the chat tonight. It's been fantastic. Hope you've all enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you all again very soon. And
Tom, don't forget Tom.
Tom was that. I mean, Tom was fantastic. Honestly, one of the best guests we've had in a long time, outside our normal circle, shall I say? Obviously,
yeah.
But no, I enjoyed every minute that he was on. It was brilliant. Really passionate Arsenal fan. And so once again, thank you to everyone. Please give us a like before you go. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you listen to the audio version of the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever you listen to, please give us a 5-star review. And once again, thank you. And come on, you Gunners.